This graphic breaks down top disruptive companies, starting with the fact that Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, owns zero real estate. It's the same story with Uber. They are the world's largest taxi company, yet they own zero taxis. Widening out, the pattern holds across every major sector. Facebook creates none of its own content, and Alibaba, the most valuable retailer on Earth, carries no inventory. The most powerful economic empires in existence today have been built by owning absolutely nothing. For over a century, corporate dominance was defined by mass. Power was measured in steel, real estate, and sprawling complexes like U.S. Steel Gary Works. Henry Ford built his empire by maximizing these heavy, physical production lines to achieve massive scale. In a digital economy, physical weight is a liability. What used to serve as a competitive moat is now an anchor dragging legacy companies down. We can map this friction. This matrix plots disruptive change by probability and impact, showing that when the impact is high, the adapt now zone is the only place to survive. This suggests that disruption follows the path of least physical resistance, specifically targeting companies weighed down by their own assets. This list breaks down the exact strategies modern challengers deploy. They use models like freemium, subscription, and access over ownership to bypass traditional physical barriers. We see the most lethal of these mechanisms in the digital ecosystem, which is exactly how Apple first broke into the market. Look at this vintage advertisement. By promising 1,000 songs in your pocket, Apple shifted music from a heavy physical CD format to a weightless digital one. The iPhone expanded this ecosystem, absorbing tools that once required their own separate hardware, from handheld GPS units to film cameras. Untouchable physical giants like Kodak and Blockbuster were trapped by their removable infrastructure, unable to compete with an enemy that had no physical footprint. Apple didn't just build a better device, they shifted the global standard of value from physical products to digital access. This chart tracks the 4 periods of industry disruption. The top sectors, viability and volatility, house software and media in constant hyper-competition. But look at the bottom left durability quadrant, home to heavy legacy industries like automotive. This creates the durability paradox. These exact industries feel safe because of their massive physical footprints, yet that very mass makes them highly susceptible to collapse. High labor costs and heavy infrastructure grant them a false sense of security, pulling them toward the vulnerability stage when a weightless challenger arrives. Heavy physical armor does not protect a company. It anchors them in place while the market moves on without them. This shift toward asset-light businesses is a mandatory adaptation to the global megatrends arriving between 2020 and 2030. This chart tracks the growth of global data. This massive surge in information is rewriting the laws of supply and demand, making data far more valuable than raw materials. This infographic on resource scarcity shows the opposite trend for physical assets. Severe shortages and climate change are placing fatal stress on physical supply chains. Maintaining these carbon-heavy assets carries a cost that is becoming environmentally and systemically unsustainable. This brings us back to those opening examples of Uber and Airbnb. These platforms shed physical assets because physical weight is lethal in an era of exponential digital acceleration and compounding resource scarcity. In the digital revolution, the ultimate competitive advantage is owning nothing at all.